Hello everyone, Mama Do here, and it's Missing Person Monday, Missing Person Criminal Case Monday, and from one of our lovely followers, like I have a mouse in my pocket, right? One of my lovely followers requested a reading on a missing person that's been gone now for 7 years. There's a lot of information out there. A lot of it is very clouded. There's secrets being held very close by some people because they know what happened. They know where this child went to. They may not know exactly where this child is at right now, but they know when the child disappeared, which is more than the police know. So let's talk about this missing person. There is one heck of a timeline on this, okay? And if I go down the whole timeline, we're going to be here for a hot minute. But this is all about Relisha Rude, 8-year-old girl from D.C., 8-year-old girl living in a homeless shelter with her mother, 3 brothers, and I believe the boyfriend, the mom's boyfriend, was there as well. This little girl loved school. She loved the continuity of it. She loved the consistency of it. Well, there was never a question on whether you got breakfast or lunch. You got those 2 meals. They were yours. Nobody was going to take them away from you. And even when she showed up dirty for school and wearing the same clothes day after day, it became such a routine that teachers actually, well, I don't know if it was the teacher or office personnel, but somebody started keeping her a fresh change of clothes at the school so she could go wash up and put on clean clothes before going to class. She was in Girl Scouting, wanted to grow up and be a model. She loved to sing and dance. She's an 8-year-old girl. That's what we do as girls when we're 8 years old usually, or we're tomboys. But she was doing what she was supposed to have been doing. And then suddenly, well, let's skip ahead just a little bit so that we have everything in order. March the 13th, 2014. Relisha has reached 10 unexcused absences from Payne Elementary School, prompting the school to notify DC's Child and Family Service Agency. But it took them 6 days for a social worker to visit the shelter where she lived at and determined that the doctor's name, who was written on the excuse of absence notes, was not a doctor. It was a janitor at the shelter, calling himself Dr. Tatum, Dr. Cahill Tatum. Okay? So then everybody's questioned, yeah? That was big red flags for people. What's going on here? So they questioned Relisha's mom, Shamika, her stepdad, Antonio. They were taken to the police station and questioned in a conference room at the DC Police Department. People around the homeless shelter were questioned to see when was the last time they had seen Relisha and had they ever seen anything that was out of the ordinary. The police then, because Relisha's mother tells them, I don't have her. I dropped her off with my mother, with her grandmother. So the police go to Relisha's aunt Ashley's house, where they find Relisha's grandmother Melissa and bring her to the conference room for questioning as well. Where she looks at everybody and goes, what? I haven't seen Relisha. She hasn't been with me. She didn't drop her off with me. Where is my grandbaby? They ask the mom to do a lie detector test. She refuses. So they start investigating this Cahill Tatum and find out that, well, his nickname at the shelter is Godfather. Why is it Godfather? Because he's creepy. But these vulnerable individuals didn't see it as creepy. They saw it as somebody who wanted to invest into their children by taking their kids places, by having overnight trips with the children, by buying them things. Yeah. Like a grandfather, like a godfather, like somebody looking out for them. But nobody looked into his criminal history to see the long line of police interactions he has had with a multitude of felonies. They can't find him. They don't know where he's at. It's the 19th of March. So, things start getting weird. No, weirder. Alright? Because as they're looking into where Tatum's at, they go public the next day on the 20th and hold a public press conference about Relisha's disappearance, asking the public for information. The FBI and local police departments offer rewards for the location and return of Relisha, as well as information leading to Tatum's arrest. They're already suspecting that he knows more about where she's at, if she's still alive, what's going on. And they issue an Amber Alert for Relisha. Okay, so on that particular day, that's when things take a turn for the worse. Like they're not already creepy enough. They're not bad enough. No. Things have to take a turn for the worse. Okay? So, DC police get notified by the police in Oxon Hill that Tatum's wife, Andrea, is found dead from a gunshot wound to the head at the Red Roof Inn. Yeah. His wife. Now, they've been married 20-something years, and he put a bullet to her head. Do they know it's him yet? No, but they're highly suspicious that it is, because he's the one checked into the Red Roof with her. Okay? I don't believe they had cameras at the Red Roof at the time. So they go and they start hunting for him, and they're looking all over, all right? And they find out that they see him on camera with Relisha at a Holiday Inn Express in Northeast DC, but it's dated February 26th. So it's dated almost a month beforehand. And they're seen going to a room. And they're carrying bags, not like you're on a trip bag, but like you've been out shopping. Then they keep looking for Tatum that day, and they find him on another camera at a DC motel, Days Inn on New York Avenue Northeast. Relisha is with him again. This time they see her going in No, the first one, they saw her going in and coming out. This one, the only one I've seen, shows her going in. And nobody can clarify whether there is another video of her leaving out. But they still searching for him. And they find him on March the 2nd inside a store where he's seen, this is for Cahill Tatum. He's purchasing 42-gallon self-tie contractor trash bags. The real heavy-duty ones. They're not going to bust open for much of nothing. A shovel and lime. Yeah. He was seen again around Kenilworth Park and Aquatic Gardens. So then they start focusing their investigation at that park. And on March 27th, almost a month after Relisha is seen on camera, over 3 weeks after Cahill Tatum is seen on camera, finds the supplies to cover up the scent of the decomposing body, which is what they use lime for. The DC Police Chief Kathy Lanier says search for Relisha has turned into a recovery mission. They do believe there is a homicide, and right now there's just no body. Hold on. Sorry. There's just no body, but they do believe that Cahill, or somebody acquainted with Cahill, has caused the demise of Relisha. They have a lot of theories. None of them consist of him wanting to help and protect the little girl. They question whether he sold her or was he selling her out. Did he kill her? Did somebody he said he sold her to, did they accidentally kill her? Did things get even more out of hand and then he was left to get rid of her remains? His wife was found dead on the 20th, the day after the press conference. So they also question whether that was the first time she knew that having that little girl around, and now the little girl is missing because now she's dead. Was she threatening to tell somebody? There's so many what ifs. But DC police on the 27th pretty much gave up all hope that Relisha would be found alive. So, on April the 1st, we're going back to Kenilworth Park. Yes, that's where he was seen after he made all the purchases. He was seen right afterwards at that park when they have been looking there to see did he dispose of a body there. In particular, did he dispose of Relish? Because now he's been found dead there of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. He is Cahill Tatum. They say the bullet from the gun that he shot himself in the head with was the same bullet, same caliber and everything for the gun that was used to kill his wife Andrea. April the 8th. D.C. Mayor Vincent Gray orders an investigation into the city's response to Relish's disappearance. Could they have done something better? Should they have done something different? Where does it all stand? Well, let's add insult to injury, because the report was published September the 2nd, 2014. And the preface reads, "The review team did not find any evidence that these tragic events were preventable." Well, I can start at step number 1 as to how this was preventable. Number 1, do not hire people of questionable background to work with people who are vulnerable. Yes, the homeless shelter had rules. No one of the staff was supposed to associate with clients and their families to see. They weren't supposed to associate with them outside their job range. But yet, everybody there knew his nickname was Godfather because he was continuously doing things for the children, particularly those between 8 and 12. Whew. Okay, that's number 1. That's the first place. Number 2, there was an open Children and Family Services case on Relisha for 6 years. So how does she go missing and nobody know where she's at for this length of time? That nobody saw her, that the school didn't see her. There's a caseworker supposed to be doing checks, at least monthly checks. When was the last time that person was out there to do their check? Yeah, don't get me started on the Department of Family and Children's Services. They get it wrong a lot. They get it wrong a lot. We've lost a lot of precious children because of that. But then again, we've also had families broken up because of these people who are not trained to be counselors. They're not trained to intervene, jumping the gun and assuming that something is wrong in the house when it's really not. Okay, that's my first 2 steps right there, how this could have been prevented. The mother should have been still doing parenting classes. If the case is still open and there's no resolution coming to the mother's lack of ability to provide a steady home, steady nutrition, clean clothes, and adequate care, then this parent should be in some kind of parenting class and somebody should be monitoring these children. The city failed. The city failed. They failed on that level, which we hear that frequently with children and family service groups. What's the next step that they could have done better? Why did you wait so long to put out the Amber Alert when you found out an 8-year-old girl was missing? 6 days? Is that it? 7 days? Let me go back. How many days was it from the time that they knew she was missing? Okay, sorry. It was just 1 day. That was 1 day too long. That was 1 day too long. Because you questioned everybody on the 19th. Why did it take 6 days once it was reported that she had been absent from school for 10 days? Why did it take 6 days, 6 more days before somebody went to the house to check on her. And then after everybody discovering she's missing, Mom saying she's with Grandma, Grandma saying, Mom, you're a fool. Then the family goes on Mike Wilkos. Is that his name? Wilkos? Steve Wilkos show. And they take lie detector test. So stepdad Antonio passes the lie detector test. Steve Wilkos says, and the test says you are telling the truth. Grandma takes the test. And Steve says, the test says you are telling the truth. The Aunt Ashley takes the test. Steve says, you told the truth. Now, Mom, you're the only one who hasn't taken a lie detector test. Will you take a lie detector test? Nope. A machine is not going to dictate how I will live my life. Oops, let me turn this around again. There we go. And my thought to that response is, really? You don't want a lie detector test being an influence over possibly your future? But yet, you gave this little 8-year-old girl to a 51-year-old man with a violent history and very long criminal history, and let him take her overnight, and then you didn't see her for almost 3 weeks before it was discovered that she was gone. That she was just gone, vanished off the face of the earth. Who was supposed to protect her? She was 8 years old. Okay. Let me get a drink here. Have you been able to keep up yet? I can only imagine how many notebooks the FBI and DC Police Department has on this case. Because they believe she's deceased. They believe that he killed her and that he buried her remains somewhere. Now, there's also the theory that somebody else killed her. His wife or somebody he was pimping her out to. Because there was other people around them. At that Red Roof Inn where the wife was found dead, there was 2 other people that entered the hotel room with them. Those 2 people later left, and so did Cahill. Of course, the wife never walked out because she was, boom. After 20-something years of marriage. So let's ask spirit guides, angels, and ancestors to please guide us regarding the disappearance of Relisha Rude from March 2014 in DC. And to start off with, an affirmation card for all those invested in this reading. Whether you are someone that carries her dearly in your heart, if you're a family, friend, soul tribe, please know, I need to say this, please know. First off, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and hit the all words so you receive notifications. Secondly, never, under any circumstances, will I request or expect any financial rewards for these readings of missing people. Many times families contact me via email and I do more readings for them on the subject, and I send it to them privately so that they can review it as many times as they so desire. Okay? So, the card of affirmation, and this is included for the searchers and law enforcement, is today I'm energetic. Yeah, today you got the energy to push forward. Today I'm filled with an incredible energy and enthusiasm to face this beautiful day. To know that yesterday might have been bad, but today can be great. I mean, that's the way Relisha lived her life. That yesterday may not have been the best day. I just wonder how many nights the shelter went by and knocked on the door and somebody opened it and they said how many people are in there, and there were supposed to be 4 kids, 2 adults, supposed to be 6 people in there. How many times did they say 6 when there was really only 5? Because they didn't come in and look around, they just knocked on the door. Because the rules at that shelter were, you had to spend the night there. You couldn't be off roaming around. So you had to be there through the bed check time. But nobody really checked the bed. So, the synopsis for this reading, for this missing person reading, for Relisha Rude, is keys on a ring. There's many options, decision, unconventional, string along, one night stand. Wow, that tells us a lot, doesn't it? Think about it. There was many options. But he made a clear-cut decision. It was very unconventional. It was not something that was acceptable. And it was, I can't help but wonder, was he providing the mother with money for drugs because they say mom had quite the drug habit while he was keeping Relisha with him in one night stand. That something got out of hand, went too far, that like it was not intentional, but it still happened. It was very tragic. Divine order. After all this took place, Children and Family Services did go in and remove all 3 boys and put them in foster care. And it's been 8 years, and I do hope the boys are in safe, stable environments and learning good coping skills for everything that they have been through in their life. Divine order, Archangel Raquel, everything is how it needs to be right now. Look past the illusion and see the underlying order. Okay. So 2 people are absolutely dead. Cahill Tatum and his wife Andrea. It does absolutely sound like Cahill was deserving of death for his transgressions. And the energy I feel towards Andrea is one of her wanting to protect this little girl and speak up after the DC police went public about Relisha's disappearance. The card of romance is an attraction. You attract romantic love by living in the moment fully. Not all attraction is healthy. And this was absolutely a very unhealthy attraction. And it was to make it a very codependent relationship. Addictions are affecting your romantic life. That is no surprise to me. Is that a surprise to you? No, me neither. Because I do feel like that Mom encouraged him to keep her so that he would continue to provide mom with money to make it easier for her to purchase her drugs. Page of Swords, a message of clarity. Wow. I do feel that this is, oh wow, she really has a worried look on her face. I feel like this is Cahill Tatum's wife, Andrea, saying, wanting to speak up and wanting to speak out to protect Relisha. But things were very clouded around her. The clouds is like smoke and mirrors around her. He had been keeping the truth from her of what he was doing, of how he was harming this child, taking advantage of this child. 5 of Swords. And Cahill felt that she was betraying him. So he put an end to it. Wow, did he ever put an end to it? You can see the eye, the tears, and the hole in the head from the gunshot. Yeah, she was shot once in the head. He put an end to it. No, you can't leave me either. Mind you, though, Relisha's already gone. She hasn't been spotted in almost right at 3 weeks at this point. So where is she? Well, spirit guide, angels, and ancestors, what can you tell us about the disappearance of Relisha Rude, 8 years old, from D.C. in 2014? Thank you for all messages forthcoming. What say ye? Okay, let me ask for a clarifier for these cards real quick. That's what Spirit is telling me. To get a clarifier for the Page of Swords and 5 of Swords. Thank you. 2 of Wands. Wow. Yeah. He wasn't going to be able to stop her from speaking up. And that's how the events unfolded. According to Spirit, that is how Andrea ended up dead because she saw the police when they went public about Relisha's disappearance. She recognized the child. She had seen this child with Cahill Tatum a time or two. The child may have even stayed in their home during some of her visits. Now, this was nobody's rich man. He didn't make no lot of money. He did a lot of stealing, car stealing, stuff like that to finance this journey to purchasing nice things for these kids, to get these kids to follow him, kind of like the Pied Piper. So what can you tell us, Spirit? The Empress, the Golden Goose, birthing a new plan to get rich, to make a lot of money, feeling as though they have the Golden Goose. Put this child in an adult's position. Hold on to them. Don't let them go. But that's very, very scary kind of thing. Because you couldn't always tell everybody who this was. How do you tell them this is my captive? You tell them this is your niece, this is your daughter, this is your preacher's child. Who do you tell them that this little girl is? You're not letting her go to school, so somebody's got to watch her, or somebody. You have to have a place to keep her confined that she can't escape. Well, that causes a lot of problems, and there's fights, and there's arguments, and all hell is breaking loose. And you can't take her to the emergency room when she's assaulted. Because this is her being accosted. This is somebody hurting her little body. Breaking bones. Breaking hiatal bones. Choking her. Yeah. Do we have any other messages, Spirit, regarding the disappearance of Relisha Rude from DC 2014? Was the person that killed Relisha, was that Cahill Tatum? Somebody she was sold to? Somebody who was supposed to? Whew. Somebody who was supposed to protect her. Somebody who pretended to protect her. 6 of Wands. Somebody who was telling her they were rescuing her. Saving her. From the frying pan into the fire. Yes, it does feel like it's Cahill that killed her. This was supposed to be somebody who told her they cared about her. Somebody who told her they were saving her and rescuing her. And yet, from the frying pan, this was like a frying pan into the fire. Not that she was burned, but meaning that whenever things got too hot, they got rid of her. So, can you clarify the Empress, the Four of Pentacles, the Five of Wands, Spirit? Yeah. Not wanting to go back to the way things used to be. The money was starting to come in from selling this child. 8 of Pentacles was becoming very was beginning to build up the clientele, so to speak, for this child. Yeah. People that wanted her, that wanted the experience of having relations with a child, a pedophile. Yeah, I'm just going to tell it like it is. Pedophiles. The Hierophant in reverse. Really? So we have not wanting to give up, but they're finding their new golden goose. Building up clientele, finding those who are willing to pay extra to have this intimate relationship with a child. Yeah, somebody who can't consent. It's a child. It's called rape. It's called molestation. But I find it kind of comical here because this is saying Cahill thought that he would be honored. He would be revered as being her Lord and Master. And none of the people who he sold her to liked him. Well, I'm sure that they'd been paying for other relationships or the opportunity to rape more children. That's because they knew that whoever was selling it to them was trash like they were. So, Spirit, please clarify the Knight of Cups, the Six of Wands, and the Page of Wands. What led up to Relisha being murdered? The Sun in reverse, no happy time, being sad, wanting to quit, done with it. It wasn't worth it anymore to her. She wanted out of it. It was never worth it to begin with. She wanted to go home. Even the home that she had before was better than where she was at. She wanted to go away. She wanted to go home. She wanted to go back to the shelter. But he couldn't let her. She'd tell it. The Four of Swords in reverse. So rather than being compassionate to this child, sorry, I just knocked the card off. He recognized that he needed to stop her from being able to talk and tell everything. Let me grab this card. There was no turning back on it. Temperance in reverse. There was no way to straighten this out. It had gone too far. Pedophiles had already raped this child. Too many people already knew. There was no hiding it. There was no returning to how it used to be. There was no new beginning. This had to end. And the only way that Cahill Tatum could see it ending was with the demise of Relisha to protect him. Instead of somebody rescuing her and protecting her, which would have been ideal. So, Holy Spirit, Spirit God, angels, and ancestors, where are the remains for Relisha Rude, who vanished in 2014? Alright, let's see what we get here. The Queen of Cups and the Eight of Cups. From the Queen to the Eight. Really? The only two people that know are gone. The only two people that know where Relisha was put are gone. Andrea was murdered, of course. And she's coming off as the Queen of Cups. And he killed her to stop her from speaking up and telling what she knew. And the Eight of Cups is clarified by the Four of Cups. Wow. Talk about Cancer. So it's either a Cancer or a Pisces. So absolutely heavy in this reading. Now, I don't know Cahill's birthday. I don't know Andrea's birthday. But this is Cahill sitting under the tree and saying, I cannot pay attention to any of my emotions, any of my love that I ever had for you, Andrea, because you're going to hurt me. You're going to cause me to be in prison the rest of my life, and I'm not going back to prison. I've already been there. I'm not doing it again. I'm not returning. And this is him going to the park after killing her and killing himself the next day. But let's ask again. Holy Spirit, Spirit God, angels and ancestors, where are the remains for Relisha Rude from D.C. that vanished in 2014? Six of Cups. Hold on. Why don't I do this beforehand? I just don't know. Okay. Give me one moment to look at this because I am the Queen of Cups, the Eight of Cups, the Four of Cups, and now we have the Six of Cups. So it's a very even area. There's not hills, there's not cliffs, it's a very even area near water. It's a waterway. So I'm looking. Okay. Whoops. Okay. For those of you who live close to this area, it's probably going to be best for you to help out. But what I'm picking up from Spirit looking at the map is down here by Oxon Hill that there is a waterway that goes through Alexandria area, and I cannot tell what that waterway is called. I'm trying to figure out what it is. Washington Memorial Parkway is right there. Okay. Is that the Potomac River? Okay. So it separates D.C. and Virginia. It is at the Potomac River. A very flat area there where she was tossed off. Buried on the edge of it. Let me zoom in a little bit more. Yeah. Near the Anacostita Drive area. That's what I'm seeing. I'm not seeing that she is wrapped up in anything. The Lyme is over her. Let's continue on. Spirit guide, angels, and ancestors. Is there anybody with information or is there evidence that can be brought to the surface to help bring Relisha home? No, because they're all going to lie, they're all going to steal, they're all going to cheat. It's a horrid mess, is what it is. And they're not going to stop that behavior. Because to them, it's acceptable. The damage that's been done over the years from alcohol and drugs, the poor coping skills of this family dynamic, self-protection is the primary goal. It's okay to sacrifice your children as long as you protect yourself. And that's clarified by, breaking through to the truth. Breaking through to somebody and removing the smoke in the mirrors. Removing the lies. Dissecting this case. Literally dissecting this case from step one. 2 steps forward, 1 step back to break through the lies. Spirit guide, angels, and ancestors. Does Mama Shamika know what happened to Relisha? We have the Sun, card of Leo, and we have the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. Really? Didn't affect her one way or another, except for the fact that her gravy train was over. There was nothing for him to pay her for now. There was no more income from her being sold. Wow. The only thing she was sensitive about Relisha's death was the fact that she wasn't going to prosper from her any further. Alright, let's see what clarifying cards we get for the Sun and the Knight of Pentacles. Justice. Justice. This person knows the truth. This person can bring balance to this connection, to this case. This person can tell the truth and shame the devil if they choose to. Let's ask a couple more theories, okay? So Shamika said she was with Grandma Melissa. Spirit guide, angels, and ancestors. Was Relisha with Grandma Melissa when she disappeared? Ten of Pentacles, loyalty, protection, watched over the children. 2 of Pentacles, Grandma wasn't completely comfortable with Cahill Tatum and would not have allowed the child to go off and spend the night with him. She was more protective over Relisha. Let's see if there's any clarifiers for this. And we get the 8 of Wands in reverse. She didn't know. She was in the dark. Until the police called her or showed up on her front doorstep and took her down to headquarters, she had no idea the child was missing. I mean, she's a more protective grandparent, but she wasn't nobody's special grandma, you know, that was always baking cakes and playing Yahtzee with the kids kind of grandma. No. She had her own life living. But she was more protected than Shamika was. So spirit guide, angels, and ancestors, is there any other messages you would like to deliver regarding the disappearance of Relisha from DC in 2014? I got a question for you, Spirit. Did Cahill Tatum kill his wife, Andrea? Yes, he did. The hangman in reverse. He did not strangle her. He shot her. Okay? Did Cahill Tatum kill himself? Did he suicide himself? The King of Swords couldn't handle the truth. Whoa. And felt that was the only way he would have any peace or comfort. Because otherwise he was going to prison real quick for the murder of his wife and subsequent to the disappearance of Relisha. And there might even be another child involved. Yeah. He knew he was all alone. There was nobody in his corner. He didn't kill his wife. Wow. 5 of Pentacles, all alone. Nobody was going to care whether he had money on his books or not. For the detectives, stay at it. Don't give up. For the family, the friends, the soul tribe, everyone who is involved, the searchers, don't give up. She's on the river. She may not, it doesn't say she's in the water. It's as if he threw her over something and then went and buried her. Like maybe it wasn't such an easy place to take the body to. But he threw her over and then he buried her. And then he threw her over. Then he took and parked the car away, walked back and buried her. The other messages for this reading? Yeah, it wasn't nothing about love. It never was. That's the Ace of Cups. There was no new beginning in love. It was absolutely false. He did it to manipulate. He did it for his sick, deprived, desire to earn more money at the expense of somebody else's sweat. 3 of Wands. Yeah. Trying to get ahead. He was very depraved and became very much realizing that he had put himself into a corner he couldn't work his way out of. 8 of Wands, because everybody was closing in on him. There was lots of communication going on between agencies now and those who were investigating. And he couldn't get out of that corner. So let's see if there's any more clarifiers for this reading. I'm sorry, we're coming up on a whole hour here, but there's just so much to cover for Relisha's case. Queen of Pentacles. Who is that Queen of Pentacles? Well, it's somebody very abundant. It can be a male, but if so, they're very feminine in behavior. Most likely it's a female that is leading the charge, trying to keep Relisha's name in the public's eye, promoting Relisha Day. I believe that in DC they have Relisha's Day now every year to encourage those to remember encounters with her and the young life that she led, how she was taken advantage of and neglected by so many who failed her through that short little life, and how much she deserves to have a traditional burial, to have her remains located, to bring her home. Alright, so the most likely outcome of this reading is devastation. You see the water, she's not in it, she's near it. It was not an easily accessible place. It's not a place where he could just drive up and place her there. It's not a place where he could not be noticed if he carried her into the location. So this was where he kind of tossed her from a bridge, an overpass, something like that, and then parked his car and went back. So he could throw the lime down. He could throw any trash bags he wanted down there that he hadn't already wrapped her up in. And he could throw the shovel down all together and then go back and take care of concealing the remains and then throw the rest of the supplies into the river and allow them just to go on. And that's a very fast moving river. So, you know, if he throws a shovel in there, it's going to sink, but it's going way down the canal before it does. And the roll of trash bags, in 30 minutes, it could be miles away. Alright, so that's it for this reading. No, it's really not. I haven't pulled the card of advice yet. Let's grab that. So for all those invested in this reading, whether you're family, friends, soul tribe, investigators, searchers, or anybody else that is doing their best to help promote others to call in and tell what they know regarding Relisha Rude. Oh, the fire prince. We're going to keep that. It's in the reverse. This is your card of advice for this reading, okay? It's number 40. So I feel like we are coming towards information to be revealed, and it's a challenge. Can you do it? Do you have the stamina, as it says over here, to withstand this challenge? There are a couple messages delivered by the Fire Prince, so take heed as one or both could pertain to you now. Be mindful of starting a fire you can't put out. Aggressive action results in loss. Well, we see that. He was very aggressive towards Relisha, and it cost Relisha her life. And then he was very aggressive to his wife and cost her her life. And at that point, he realized he was in a corner, couldn't get out, had nobody in the corner with him, and he took his own life. Stay clear of someone else's unbridled ambition and aggression as well. If you think you will get burned, you most certainly will, unless you remove yourself from the action. When the Fire Prince arrives as a challenge, he could also be warning you to be careful of burnout. This might pertain to workaholism or obsessively focusing on something you want, excluding all else. You may be afraid to let go, but you must. If you keep going the way you are, truly you won't have any energy left, nor will you see your way through your path. It's easy to get lost in the dark when there's no flame to light the way. So this is going out to somebody invested in this reading, that you are doing too much, and it's preventing you from seeing the trees for the forest, or seeing the forest for the trees, however that goes. Step back, take a break, clear your head, then you're going to be able to get at it again and find the solution, find the evidence that's there and waiting for you. So for everyone, I send my love and light. Relisha, I wish I would have had an opportunity to know you, young lady. You all have a happy Monday. Namaste.